And now, from the Conservative Declaration, here is Griffin Voorhees.
What I'm about to say may not be that popular. In fact, I may even offend somebody. Maybe a fellow Christian, maybe another conservative, possibly a heterosexual. But quite frankly, I don't care. If our founding fathers were worried about not offending people, we would have never become the great nation we are today. Same-sex marriage. This topic seems to be a big one with my constituency. We as conservatives, and even Christians, believe that if you change the meaning of marriage, you make marriage meaningless. And this much is true. Christians and conservatives alike are always pointing their fingers at the homosexual community that probably amounts to maybe 1% of our population. They're always claiming that same-sex marriage takes away from the sanctity of marriage, and that it does. I didn't come up with this idea, Jesus did. Now I'm sure a lot of you are probably wondering here, what's so offensive about that? Most likely, if you have not turned me off by now, you're with me on this. But I want to share with you something else Jesus said. One day there was a lady named Mary who was caught in the act of adultery. The religious people of the day took this woman to Jesus and basically said, the law says if a woman is caught in the act of adultery, she must be stoned to death. What do you think we should do? And I'll never forget what he said. Jesus turned to them and said, let the man here who is without sin cast the first stone. Now, how does this story relate to the sanctity of marriage? I'll tell you, but I warn you, this is where it's about to get ugly. All too often, we heterosexuals are first to cast the first stone at gays for violating the sanctity of marriage, when it was us, the heterosexuals, who first started destroying the traditional views of marriage. Yes, you heard me right. I said heterosexuals have done more harm to the family and marriage than any other group of people. We are the ones who said that marriage didn't matter back in the 60s and 70s when we started sleeping around and having promiscuous sex with several partners. It was the straight community who started getting divorced at equal rates that we were getting married. Yes, we were the ones who said that till death do us part meant nothing if marriage didn't work out for us. We were the ones who got married for better and not for worse. We were the ones who got pregnant outside of marriage at younger ages each year. We were the ones who started marketing sex, and now we consume more porn than any other generation of Americans. We were the ones who spat in the face of the sanctity of human life when we started saying that a baby was not a miracle, that it was a mistake. And the worst part about all this is, it's not just the secular world that has this problem. We as Christians have as many divorces, as many abortions, as much premarital sex as everyone else. Now, how can we expect the world to say that two men who lived together for 7 years cannot be considered married when we were the ones that started this whole mess? How can we expect homosexuals to view marriage through a traditional view where marriage has meaning, purpose, and value when all they see around them is heterosexuals demonstrating that marriage is meaningless, pointless, and of no value? I believe it is time that we conservatives, Christians, and heterosexuals start trying to fix the problem in our own homes before we start trying to fix everyone else's. It's time we heteros stop trying to point out the stinking piece of sawdust in the 1% of our population's eye and start focusing on the 2x4 in our own. I'm Griffin Voorhees, and I approve this message.